In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to compute for the final grade of a student. But first, I would like to thank everyone who have already subscribed to my channel. As long as you guys are willing to learn programming and technology related topics, I won't stop making videos, tutorials, and reviews. So please don't hesitate to click the subscribe button and the bell notification button so that you will be notified every time a new content is uploaded. Okay, going back, so let's try to create a variable and let's try to have it as string. You have your f name, l name, and last we have ID number. Okay, we'll only be asking for three informations from the users. We have our first name, the last name, then ID number. Next is try to use the data type float for prelim grade. Okay, let's try to put a default value of 0. Then midterm grade. Okay, then end-term grade. Then last, for the final variable, we're going to use FG for final grade. Okay, so now that we have established, or now that we have initialized our variables, it's time this time to ask the user for the information that we need. So if your system dot out dot print ln. Okay, we can just have it print only. Okay, have here student first name, then system dot out dot print student last name. Then last we have system dot out dot print ID number. Okay, so but before we can actually accept information from the user, we need to use, or we need to initialize our scanner class, or we need to instantiate our scanner class. So here we're going to use scanner obj is equals to new scanner system.in. Okay. Next is let's try this time to create with your string. Okay, or we're going to use f names equals to obj dot next line. Okay, but notice by the way that it's in red. So if it's in red, it means that we have not yet imported the utility. So we're going to import java.util.scanner. Okay, so now everything becomes red except for this one, which should be in camel case. Okay, so as you've noticed, nothing is red already. Okay, so we're going to call this one again. Call this one as L name. Then last we have ID number. Okay. Now, let's just try to put a little bit of separator. Okay, try to put maybe enter student grades 1, 2, 3. Print ln. Okay. So next thing that we need to do is we're going to prompt also the user system dot out dot print. We have here prelim grade. Okay, I'm being lazy again. Prelim grade, midterm grade, and we have final grade. Okay, so next is PG is equals to um, obj dot next float. Okay, that's for the prelim grade. Okay, for midterm grade, obj dot next float again, and also for the final grade, obj dot next float. That's our going to serve as our object. Now let's try to add some more prompt on our application. Okay, so we have your enter student. So I call this one as student details. Okay, so basically for student details, we will be asking the user to input the first name, the last name, and the ID number. For the student grades, the user will be asked to input the prelim grade, midterm grade, and final grade. Okay. Now this time, or not actually final grade, but end term grade, sorry. So I'm going to change it instead of final grade, I'm going to call it end term grade. Now, in order for us to compute for the final grade, what basically we need to do is decide to create a formula. Let's try to assume that the prelim grade is actually 3% of the whole grading period plus midterm grade times 0.3 plus end term grade times 0.4. Okay. Let's try to put a parenthesis to separate. Okay. Okay, so there seems to be an error on our system. Cast to float. Okay, so we need to cast it to float. Okay. So we are going to cast it to float. Okay, so actually that's how you would cast it to float. Let's try to see it later if there's going to be an error. Okay. Next is, okay, let's try to put here system.out.println. Okay. So your first name, f name plus l name. Okay, but before anything else, let's try to first to display the ID number. Okay, let's try to call this one as ID number. Okay, then we have system.out.println. Final grade is final grade. Okay, let's try to leave it as is plus fg. Okay, now let's try this time to test the application if it's going to work or not. Now let's first try to build. I'm going to click here build. So currently it's building. Okay, now as you've noticed, it didn't create or it didn't generate any issues or error whatsoever. Now let's try to run the application. Okay, so student first name. Okay, so this one is actually called, so Michael. Then last name. ID number 111-222-23. Okay, for prelim grades, I to have it 95. Midterm grade is 95. Midterm grade 95. Then we have here, okay, 95. Let's just try to polish it a bit. Okay, maybe try to put a separator in between. Okay. Let's try to compile it again. Student name. $91. Okay. Maybe let's try to call it 85. Some 85. Then 85. Okay, so we have the final grade of 85. Now, what if, let's say, for example, we wanted to check if the student actually passed or failed? So let's try to create a conditional statement. We have your FG. If FG is equals to or less than 75, okay, let's try to prompt system dot not println. If your student, we're just try to put it as fail. Otherwise, passed. Okay, so let's try to build it again.